frail? I thought women weren't victims. Help me?
Was a woman.
Bam! Marty for the win.
That's offensive, Marty.
Mike Weinstein here with the boys at Burger Club. Excited to be on all the Over the Place podcasts where the fun sanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. I'm your host, Eric Provoznik. Over there. Jim, Marty, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to All Over the Place.
Hello.
Hey.
Let's throw one back.
Oh, that's delightful.
For those watching at home, that would be some Jim Beam Red Stag going down my gullet right now.
And mine is Angel's Envy.
Nice. Oh, with the wine cast, soaked in a wine cast. Good stuff.
And I bet Jim's drinking water.
And I have water for, I will say that for tax purposes, it's water.
Oh, okay.
Well, see, Jim, water cannot sponsor us. So next time around, please remember to make something up.
Are you kidding me? Bottled water costs more than liquor these days.
Brought to you by microplastics.
Brought to you by Glacier.
Delicious microplastics.
Glacier's Faucet. There we go. That's going to be your new water. Glacier's Faucet. Up there.
Apparently, if you drink it within a couple of weeks of it being bottled, it's perfectly fine. A couple of weeks? Holy shit.
Bum. A couple of weeks after that, you got to drink some more of this to clean it out.
Is that the antidote?
Style.
Antidote.
Woo! God, that's
all right. You got a shout out there?
So before we get folks, as you may have seen on if you bother to look and see what the episode is titled, you will see that this is the shortest month, Freestyle. We're here in February, and it's our second episode of February. And before we get going on the freestyling and the fixing of everything, I got this book for my birthday. I want to send a shout out to Wendy Ragland. Pick me up. Actually, a hard copy, a physical copy of John Nolte's Borrowed Time. So I do like physical copies. I also love the smell of a new book. So John Nolte, thanks again for coming on All Over the Place. Analog guy that I am. Borrowed Time. I'll put this up in the background here, back with all the other people who have been on our show.
You're an analog guy in a digital world.
Oh, over here we got, of course, Mark Daly and John already fell. Is that a good omen or a bad omen? I'm going to bend the spine a little bit.
But you can't get nice things.
I know. Oh, just another quick shout out. Oh my God, it's a wrecking house over here. Danny Saber putting together the Michael Hutchins. And
anything else you want to throw on the floor?
I figured it out. There we go.
We throwing the book at me.
See what you did.
Well, nice transition, my man. We are throwing the book this episode at nobody. Well, we might later, but initially what I want to do is do a follow-up to our Feet to the Fire, a little report card, if we can, and we will, because
did something happen in the news? Did I miss something? Is there something going on politically or with the government? I don't even know.
Marty, if everyone remembers, who remembers their first Feet to the Fire entry nomination?
I do.
Jim, raise your hand. Of course you do. Nudge. But 2 out of 3 of our Feet to the Fire requests, desires, came true. And mine, of course, was getting the amnesty or the pardons for the January 6th, the non-perpetrators. And it's almost, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's almost everybody, but the people who have not been pardoned yet are under just a little further review, and they will be pardoned eventually, correct?
That's my understanding.
To my knowledge, that's what's going on. So that's mine. Mine came true, and Jim, yours came true. Remind everyone what that was.
Secure the border.
Amen.
And it has been quite a ride the last couple of weeks.
Yes,
getting other countries to pitch in. And the wall is back to being built. And yeah, he really just hit the ground running with that. And it's been quite a sight to see. And obviously I'm going to be keeping an eye on finishing the wall as promised, but we're definitely on the right track.
And I should have had this ready to go, but Marty, while I'm looking up what is actually happening with sending people back to their countries, tell us what your Feet to the Fire was, and just how close we are to that happening.
Mine was the elite pedophile ring.
Yes, that's right. There it is.
Because we should almost kill them and then revive them and kill them again. Because that's
bury under the jail.
Yeah, that is some real dastardly shit, man. That is. So I'm feeling hopeful based on the stuff that is already happening. It's just, and what's the rule? If whoever says stop looking, that's the ones that are guilty. It's obvious. It's crystal clear.
And the good news is the Oscar ceremony's coming up, so all the remaining ones are going to be all in one room together. So
yeah,
it'll be easy to find.
Now I gotta say, this whole border thing and all that. By the way, ironically, they're down in National City, that 10 or 12 miles from they're Viva Mexico. Yet it's right there. Just go. What are you doing here?
Oh no! Don't send me back to the place I'm waving a flag for. Anything but that.
Yeah, and here it is. And I want to give a shout out to Glenn D'Amato, a Facebook friend and a friend from back in LA, an actual flesh and blood person. I do, not just a Facebook friend, but Glenn has a meme here that is a reminder: to return an illegal alien to their own country is not deportation. It's called repatriation. Deportation only applies to aliens who have been admitted to the U.S. legally, such as on a visa or permanent residency card. So this isn't a deportation; it's a repatriation. So,
what's everybody complaining about? We're not deporting anybody.
That's right.
Well,
that's right. So, you want Selena Gomez? It's repatriation.
I think the next stage of this, once we get this rolling, is all these people that have overstayed their visas. I had someone tell me, "Oh, little known fact, the majority of the people are people that came on a visa and then just overstayed." And I'm like, that doesn't exactly make it right.
Still illegal.
Point. It's just it's silly. But what I wanted to say, the point I wanted to make, was not about immigration or anything else, but the rapid changing. Not necessarily about Daddy Trump is the greatest thing ever, but he has shown the rest of the world, he's shown us just how powerful we are. The United States has tremendous power all over the globe, and I think people have forgotten that over the years, not just with Biden, but even before that we are, nobody wants any problems with us.
And I would go so far as, and not disagreeing with you, I would say influence, I think, is the more important word on this one. And people, you look at it like I see a couple of Facebook friends and they're like, oh, he's just bullying everybody. He's doing this. Like, no, he's showing them the best way for everybody. We're cooperating with our neighbors, whether it's Justin Trudeau or the president of Mexico, whose name is escaping me right now. But you give them a chance to do it on their own. Say, well, if you don't do it, we won't be as friendly to you. Quid pro quo.
Yep. And even with the UN and the WHO and all these other ones, why are we paying for everything? And I know it seems simplified and whatever, but honestly, why is it always up to us to pay the lion's share? And it just seems like the world, not all of it, but a lot of the other countries have become those spoiled brat kids that their parents just keep heaping more and more onto them and hoping that they're going to behave. And it doesn't work that way. And, in the words of Tom McDonald, Daddy's home. It's I guess I started thinking we're a world power, but there's, people, it's not like that anymore. It's a global economy. Nope. Nope. It turns out when someone at the helm says, you're going to do this, they do it. You remember all the tariff talk? Oh my God, it's going to cost Americans so much money. Grow up. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen?
Marty, what fun is it if not to heat a worst case scenario on Bad Orange Man? Come on.
Yes, they're not. No one's going to pay 100% tariff. The point is, we need to fix the trade deficit. We need to figure this out. And the way we're going to do it is you're going to come to the table or you're going to pay 100%. That's it. And that's how he got Mexico to the table. That's how he got everybody to the table.
Got Colombia to the table. And who's the Central American country? Is it Nicaragua? Who is volunteering
El
Salvador.
Those super prisons.
You can borrow our jails.
Those super prisons are no joke. They put you in there and they shut the door and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't come out. That's it. You go in and that's it. You're done.
You mean it's less humane than Sheriff Joe was here in Arizona?
Oh,
What?
yeah. Sheriff Joe, my God.
No pink underwear? What?
My God.
But bottom line, folks, we are not even a month into Trump's second term in office, and I'm impressed. The first time around, things eventually got going, and when America was running on all cylinders until things ground to a halt in 2020. Yeah, but that's a show for another time. But right now, his team came in ready to go, and damn it, I'm going to borrow from Glenn D'Amato again. He ran on being a wrecking ball, and he's being a wrecking ball, and that's a democratic republic, and because this is what America voted for.
Yeah.
Well, and he. Go ahead.
Good, Jim.
He's
Chuck Schumer.
Marty, go. Jim, go. Marty, go. Jim, go.
You, no, me, you, no. Okay, me. No, you.
Okay.
It's a freestyle, folks. We're having fun.
Doing Night at the Roxbury thing. You, me. So, I mean, he's approaching things like a businessman, and that's something that's new. I mean, Trump and Elon together, private sector businessmen looking at the government from that point of view, and people are still talking about him like he's a career politician. Oh, he's throwing his weight around. He's bullying. If he was a career politician, he might be. People are freaking out about, is he going to take over Greenland? Is he going to invade this thing? Is he going to drop a bomb on that thing? If he was a politician, he might, but he's not. He's a businessman who's looking at, and Elon too are both businessmen who are looking at an organization that are rife with corruption and overspending and no accountability. And they're looking at, how do we form relationships with other organizations to get what we want? And they're looking at it from a private sector business perspective. In a private sector business, you actually have to be accountable for the money you're spending. You can't just blow it on whatever you want. And so that's how they're treating the American government. And I mean, I've worked in local politics a little bit. I've known some local politicians. They don't think about things the way normal people do. They really don't. Their mindset is we have this huge pot of everybody's money, and I have my agenda, and how do I push my agenda how do I get my hands on the money to spend to get my agenda passed? And that's all they care about. They don't think about saving money, being accountable, any of this stuff. So it's a completely different mindset, and that's what a lot of people don't get about people like Trump and Elon, is they're coming at it from a completely different place. So the things he's doing make perfect sense from a private sector business perspective. But if you're still trying to see him like a politician that's been in Washington, D.C. for 40 years, you're not going to get it. So that's the point I was trying to make. That's why I had to cut you off, Marty. Sorry.
No, that's great. No, my point was only going to be, did you catch Schumer's acting like, we got a private person, he's not been elected, and he's in there monkeying with the works, and you mean like a lobbyist? All Schumer's doing is telling everybody that he's one of the guilty people. That's all he's doing. It's so transparent. So there was something that occurred to me, and so we always, and I remember back, 15 years ago when I started really understanding that we have a federal deficit all over and over and over, and we have this national debt that just continues to multiply. And I just keep thinking, like, why can't these people get their spending under control? And the answer is simple. They don't have to. They don't want to. They're not going to. And so I did a little digging around, and just, very lightly, in the last 40 years, we have 1/3 the buying power in 40 years. So $100 worth of stuff is now $300. And it matches, I compared it with gold, and the price of gold, it's pretty comparable. And if this trend continues, we're going to find out that inflation was caused, by a lot of factors, a lot of global factors, and there's a lot of things that go into it. But the main one is just, we're out of money, let's just make more.
Yep.
And we'll just borrow more. We'll just make more money, and the debt will keep going up. And who cares? It might well be a gazillion, gazillion, bazillion. It doesn't matter. The number is not important because you just make more. And now we can see why it was like that. You know, we don't need to get into the whole. It's not a feet to the fire episode, but the whole spending thing. Everyone's seeing it. Millions of dollars on things that we're just go, whoa, what? Clearly, that's not what's happening. Clearly, that money is just being filtered back into these people's hands, and that's why they run at a deficit and they don't care. They don't care. They don't need to fix it. Why? Why would they fix
Not
it?
their money. Why should they care?
Not their money, and they can always make more. And so what? So what? And I made this point when we got the stimmy check.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't remember what it was because we didn't get one.
I think
we didn't
$1,300, something like that. 900.
They could have made that a bajillion dollars. What's the difference? They should have just gave everybody, you know, $10,000, $20,000. Why not? And the reason is because they have to keep the charade going. But what's the difference? You're just going to make new money to pay for it anyway. So why not just give everybody $100,000? Who cares? And that's what they do in politics. They just spend it. Anyway, a little soapboxy, I know. I'm sorry.
That's politics.
Yeah, well, it is nice to see. And they're all acting like this is so bad. This is so wrong. We have
We all got the vapors. As you said earlier, Marty, whoever's got the vapors are the ones saying stop are the ones who are getting greased the most.
And
that's right.
That's the thing. Like, well, these guys weren't elected to any. Who says they have to be? Why? The Federal Reserve, those people aren't elected. And that's the biggest scam of all. So
Fauci wasn't elected.
Fauci was. Here you go. There's another. And
he got to tell the whole country what to do.
He did, and we all did it. I mean, well, you did, and here's how you did it. You suffered through it. You had to live. You had to live here while it was happening. I was in Havasu. Nothing was happening there. It was great.
Well, no, you were here for you were down here for the start of it anyway. But yeah.
And I will say this: let it be known to one and all, Eric Porvoznik from day one said,
we've talked. I don't need to have my balls pressed anymore. I appreciate that, but
and in the end, he was right.
We may or may not be on the air next week, folks, and now you know why.
Yes.
Captain, fuck you, COVID.
Hey, so are we going to talk about other stuff? Because I'm ready to roll.
I believe we are, but let's see. Well, Marty, let's start off with you, Marty. Kick us into gear.
What? So I have these notes, these well-crafted notes
that I have. If you want it, there it is. Go and get it. I'm changing lyrics because it is our show.
Ooh, not bad. I crumbled it up and threw away, and then I thought about, hey, why don't we talk about this? Did you guys see any highlights of the Fire Aid concert? I know nobody.
I caught bits and pieces. Actually, the only one that I really cared about on that was I know you love your Gwen Stefani, and no doubt, and I hear they did great. But I only watched the Foo Fighter stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, the Nirvana. Get together because and especially the one with Violet Grohl.
Yeah, she was really good. She was good. So I didn't want to specifically, talk about the whole show, but something that grabbed me was my dad's music. Our dad's music. Those people are still alive, but they're starting to, they're getting to be in their 80s or around 80, and they're starting to drop off. But some of them should not be. They should. So what do you guys make of that? These performers, Stevie Nicks, she's great. I like Stevie Nicks, but she's, I don't know, closing in on 80. I think she's 76 or something. And it was
is the voice starting to wither? Because last I heard her sing live, she was still doing well.
So it was not good at all. It was just she can't do it anymore. Her voice is just like an old smoker or whatever. And I know she never had that. She always had that cool kind of crispy voice, but it doesn't work anymore. And then Graham Nash, and Stephen Stills. Stephen Stills just. So anyway, what do you make of this? These guys,
did Fogerty sing? Was Fogerty there?
Fogerty actually sounded pretty good.
Okay. Well, his voice, he has more of a growl rasp thing going on.
Yeah.
Dude, Fogerty's voice is eternal, I swear. I heard it.
Yeah.
Last time I heard him was just a few years ago, and he sounded exactly the same
Yeah.
as he did with Jim.
It was like an
Amazing.
older version, but it was the same voice, the same
Yeah.
range. He didn't have to change keys. It was really pretty good, you know. But some of them just can't do it anymore. And
Well,
I really felt bad for Joni Mitchell.
What do I think about it? Well, here,
No.
I go back to people, all the people make fun of, oh, the Rolling Stones, the rolling wheelchair Stones, or whatever. It's like John Lee Hooker played until he died. B.B. King, all these old blues guys played until they died. What else do they know? You know, and I look at a guy like Huey Lewis, who had to stop singing. And, you know, Brian Johnson from AC/DC had the same ear problem situation that Huey did. Brian went and got it fixed. So if Huey can or can't get it fixed, I don't know. But I know these guys, they love doing it. It's all they know. But at what point do you know that it's just time to hang it up? That's hard. And I think back to when I did Looking for Oscar, one of the questions I asked the guys was, when did you know it was your last at bat? And you don't know. It's rare. A guy like Bob Seger just knows he can't. The registers aren't there anymore, and he went out with dignity. So everyone's ego is different, and how much they want to keep placating it. And here's the thing: how much do people keep coming back to see them and pay for it? They won't stop. Look at Vince Neil. He's like 15 years younger than these people, and he's out there making a clown of himself, and people are still going.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's why I don't go. He hasn't done anything to try and make the situation better. So you don't get my money. I love Motley Crue. They're one of my favorites, but you don't get my money if you don't try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as long as they're putting the effort in. I mean,
my comparison was, this reminded me a lot of Joe Biden, and not the political part of it, but just he didn't have it anymore. I don't agree with anything Joe Biden ever did, but some people did. Some people could argue that he did a lot of things. Okay, fine, whatever. But there's no way to argue against what we saw at the end.
Right.
It wasn't him anymore. It wasn't a guy that could do this anymore. And so it's really sad. It was so sad to see Joni Mitchell. Like they had a throne for her and everything, but that wasn't even the point. If she can't sing anymore, why aren't people telling her, like, you can't?
Well, they live in a bubble. They live surrounded by yes men and yes women.
By the way, shout out to Rod Stewart. Holy shit, he's amazing. He was amazing. He ran around. He did Maggie May, and it was fucking cool, man. He's still got it. I mean, he was one of the ones.
Well, much like the guy on your T-shirt, Bruce Dickinson is still bringing it.
Man, he's old too.
And as for everyone else on that Iron Maiden stage, and it goes back to what it just comes down to, you know, like I said earlier, it's when will their egos and when will the pocketbooks of we the fans just say, all right, it's time to bow out even semi-gracefully, like a Glenn Campbell, who unfortunately had the Parkinson's and had to step aside. Neil Diamond realized that, I believe he had Parkinson's as well, and just, okay, that's it. I got to go. Or Huey, like I said earlier, Huey Lewis just can't do it anymore. Thanks for the years.
Yeah. They don't have somebody in their life that, you know, Rogan talked about people that say silly things, and that's because you don't have a friend that's like, hey, come here. Don't say that. That's dumb. Don't say that. You don't have that person in your life that can be honest with you and tell you, like, you know, hey, Steven Stills, come here, bro. Come here. You were great. You were amazing. Legacy. You're an icon, but you can't sing anymore. So stop singing. You can't do it anymore. Sorry. It's not good. And
they live in a bubble, and if you get famous enough, people will always show up to your shows.
Yeah.
As long as you can stand up in front of a microphone, people will still show up. So it's really up to, honestly, the person to figure out, I can't do this anymore. And
it's
a lot of times
weird.
their ego just won't let them.
It was sad to watch.
Yeah,
it was. You know,
but hey, I heard they raised well over $1 million. So good for that, for your neck of the woods. They're a little north of you to help out with that.
No, I think it was over $1 million.
Over $1 million, yeah.
No, I think it was
like what 1.1, not two. I believe it was 1.1 or 1.5 over. It was over 1. It may have been 1.5, but it was impressive for a one night show.
Yeah, it was. And there was somebody there that was matching it. They announced.
Oh wow! Okay.
A billionaire was like, "Yeah, whatever we raise, I'll match it." So
Good for him.
And
wait, is that a private citizen throwing their weight around with money?
Imagine that. Imagine that.
For what the government should have been doing or preventing?
As Shade Tree Surgeon always says, we're bad people doing good things. I was just thinking of anybody else that I noticed. As you covered, you said no doubt. Yes. I was thinking, man, she is looking and running and sounding good. The band sounds tight. She's got to be in her late 40s. Nope, she's 55.
She's my age. Yep.
Damn. That is old. So I was impressed by that. Little Baby was absolute garbage, wet, sneaky garbage. It was bad. Just wondering if anybody had any thoughts on it, because it was a big deal in these parts.
Yeah, well, like I said, the only thing I really cared to watch was the stuff with Grohl coming back and getting the band back together with the replacement singers.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer with the other ones, Joan Jett and the other ones that were doing the heavier songs. Whoever was mixing it, you couldn't hear them. You could not hear these women singing the lead vocals. It was just drowned out by the guitar.
Yeah.
Except
go ahead, Jim.
I tend to grade musicians on a curve when it's for charity. So it's like they're getting out there doing their thing, trying to raise money for an important cause. I went to Farm Aid in the early 2000s. I think and Jerry Lee Lewis was there, and I think it had to have been one of his very last shows, because he was ancient at that point. And I mean, he put some energy into Great Balls of Fire, but he didn't have the pipes that he used to have.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and you went to it?
What's that?
You went to that show?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
What Farm Aid did was, after the initial ones that were in the Midwest, Indiana, it went in different parts of the country. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the Farm Aid; it was a later one. But yeah, I mean, the fact that at his age he got out there and raised some money for charity. I'm not gonna sit there and throw stones at him for being an old singer.
Yeah.
So,
I just felt bad for him. I felt bad that they have this legacy of amazing shit, and this is like the last thing they're doing. That's like not like, kind of like when someone dies, you don't want to remember them like that.
Right.
A lot of people who went to this and watched it on TV are going, oh, so that's who Joni Mitchell is, or whatever, fill in the blank.
Right.
It's sad because that's not who they were. Joni Mitchell was amazing. What an amazing singer-songwriter she was. One of the best. But all you had was a lady in a chair that couldn't walk and couldn't even really do anything. And it was just, seemed distasteful. I don't know.
But like Jim said, like you I believe you said, well, they're raising money, and just we cut them some slack, and we hope that the people who are watching and the people who are, more importantly, doing realize you're getting someone who's just giving their best at that age.
And gladly, almost everyone didn't politicize it. They were just like feeling bad for these people. They lost everything. This really sucks. We want to help them. Only one person had to throw their 2 cents in, and
Remind me who that was, or do we want to get into it on this?
No, it was fine. So it was Pink. So
that's right. Now I remember. Yeah,
fantastic. Did Bobby McGee, tore the house down. She's an amazing singer, one of the best ever. Just incredible what she does. And then when it was time for her to introduce the band that was following, she had to throw a little political statement in there, and I'm just like, come on. People lost everything. They don't care about your opinion. Like,
well, so Hollywood parties.
Suspend your opinion for just one night. Just one night.
It's Hollywood. You gotta do Orange Man bad or a variation.
Yeah.
On it, so.
I mean, you'll still be famous tomorrow. You can say this tomorrow. It's fine. No problem. But
it comes back to what we said earlier. They live in a bubble. No one knows to tell them no, and they'll just get away with it.
Yeah. And I'm sure all of those people were, not all of them, but a lot of them were not fans of the current president, but they all kept their shit together. You know, they were like, yeah, it's not what it's about. It's not about me, not about my opinions. It's just about trying to raise some money for people, you know.
And from what I saw, shifting gears a little bit, but keeping it in the entertainment part of things, I thought Nikki Glazer, with a little, like, oh, I'm afraid we're not going to be able to have this award ceremony next year, slight shade of President Trump. It seemed like a good, nowhere near as good as Ricky Gervais style hosting of the Golden Globes. But Jim, what was your take on the Globes and about Nikki's part in it, and Hollywood keeping it as apolitical as possible?
I don't know. I didn't think they kept it all that apolitical. There was quite a bit of
This is why I didn't watch, folks. I watched a little bit of Nikki's monologue. I should say a little bit. I watched most of her monologue.
Well, I think mainly it was mainly the trans issue that people were talking about. You had singers getting up there talking about, and I might be confusing this with the Grammys, but I'm pretty sure that was part of the Golden Globes as well. Just people spouting off about the trans issue and things like and Trump and things like that, and So I mean,
that's what Pink said too. That was her thing.
Yeah, same thing. So I think these people haven't learned anything from the last election. They've learned nothing. They're still walking on cloud nine and think that they are entitled to just shove their opinions down everyone else's throat all the time. So it's not going to change. And
I hope it doesn't, because because that's what lost them or helped contribute to them losing an election last year. Real America doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
real America is trying to get turned off by it, and I'm 100% with our buddy Christian Toto. More free speech. I want to know what you're thinking, because you're saying it. Yeah. I know you're not going to be changing my mind one way or another, but there are some people who are on the fence who are tired of it. Please.
See, I don't though. I don't want to know what they're thinking, because I want to be able to enjoy culture again, and that's the problem. I can't go to a movie now and look at a movie screen without saying, okay, that guy said he hates me. That guy said he wants me to burn in hell. That guy said that I should be in jail because I voted for Trump. Every single person on the screen, if you're even paying attention to what they're saying on Twitter or anywhere else, then you can't enjoy culture, because it completely breaks the spell of it. And yeah, I've given up on any of these celebrities learning and growing up. I don't think they ever will. I'm just waiting for them to get replaced by new celebrities that actually don't have their head up their ass.
Yeah.
And Jim, I'm going to try and meet you halfway on this one. Free speech, or I want them to spout, but only in an election year, during the award shows, during just during the election season. But of course, in today's 24/7 news cycle, it seems like we're always in election season. But can we maybe find a middle ground there?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Well, as best as we, because what we think doesn't matter. They're going to keep doing whatever they want. But
yeah. And I'm a libertarian. I agree with you, Jim. It sucks. And I agree with you, Eric, free speech. But mostly, I don't give a shit what you do. Do whatever you want to do. Okay. I get what you're saying, Jim, that these people fucking hate me. But I'm able to suspend all that because it's make-believe land anyway. It's a movie, so I'm able to suspend the real person. Robert De Niro is kind of the poster child for that. I'm still able to watch Goodfellas, even though he is the prickiest of all pricks for some unknown reason. I don't know why he decided to be this, but I can just go, well, that's not who I'm watching. I'm not watching De Niro, I'm watching whatever character he's playing. So, it does.
Yeah, I'm weird like that, because for me, the demarcation line is new product that they put out. Because I still love listening to Mellencamp's albums from the 80s and 90s.
That's a good point.
Or Drive-By Truckers
up
through The Big To Do, or maybe it was the one album after that. But but it was at that point where they said, "Fuck you, Trump voters. I don't want your money." Oh, really? Okay. I've saved a shitload on all those people and going to their live. And I went to see every Mellencamp show. I've seen him more than any other artist except for Sammy Hagar, Metallica and Weird Al.
Yeah.
The Drive-By Truckers were set to surpass all of them. They're a phenomenal live act. But I don't give a shit anymore. You told me you don't want my money? Bob Mould from Sugar and Husker Du and beyond? You don't want my money? Okay. I'll listen to your tunes on Spotify. I'll give you your 0.00000014 cent. That's all you'll get from me now. And I know when live shows is where you make it. So you want to alienate me? You don't want my money? Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. With music anyway, not so much with acting, but
movies. Look, Goodfellas is my jam of all time. But whatever De Niro's putting out now, I won't watch.
If we are in a time now that album sales, that's not a thing anymore. Really, that's not really how they make money.
Live's where it's at.
Live is where it's at, and you're alienating the people. Half the people, as every election shows, half the people don't
more than half the people now. Half.
Yeah, but I mean, even though it was a landslide, it was still about half. It was pretty close.
Well, what did I see? Help me out on this one, guys. It was a recent Facebook meme. There is no Democratic Party anymore. There are 12 cities, and I can't remember whatever another region.
I mean, that's how it's been for a long time now.
Yeah,
but more so now. I mean, those counties are getting redder and redder in relation to the 12 blue cities.
I'll tell you what, if DOGE can continue what they're doing, because it seems like they get in there and then the nerds come out. Elon brought his nerds from the nerdery, brought them out, stuck them in there, and instead of saying, "Hey, we found a bunch of shit and it's kind of this, that, and the other, more to come," he just started releasing shit, just started throwing it out there. That's how it should be handled.
Yeah.
This isn't some Assange thing, although that guy got screwed and so did Snowden. But this is like he goes in, he finds it, and here it is, and he releases it. If he continues that kind of a trend, there won't be a Democratic Party. People are going to go, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" These are the people that have been stealing from us. And the Republicans are guilty as well. I will agree. The Democrats do not own corruption. Republican Party's been doing it for decades as well. But the last 4 years has been really, really bad of just, tripling.
Largesse.
10xing down on the previous thievery and fuckery.
And here, folks, in the land where funsanity never ends, Marty, I think we're going to need to throw a little copyright for your direction. I love your use of the word nerdery.
I would love to take credit for that, but that's a Spade thing.
Oh, well, shit.
Tommy Boy.
I still stand by the fact that I never heard funsanity anywhere before I started using it. So
yeah, it seems like a word somebody would have used, but I never heard it before you said it.
Well, no, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't even think I've ever seen Tommy Boy all the way. I've seen it in fits and starts and just clips here.
What?
That's because
I know.
It's lefty, liberal, American hating.
Crucify me all you want. I'm not a look. Chris Farley. I was tired of the fat guy falling down shtick by that point.
It just started.
Fat guy in a little suit. Oh, go fall through a chair again. Fall through a table again, Chris. Boy, we haven't seen that already.
You are,
dude,
perhaps the worst person I know.
Look,
nothing. And you're one of my favorite people.
Whoa, help me out. Did it ever get better for Chris Farley than the Chippendale sketch?
Yes, Matt Foley.
Or Matt Foley. Those were the two things. Did it ever get better than that?
Well,
did any variation on those ever get better?
Yes or no? The movie that you don't watch.
Maybe I should watch Beverly Hills Ninja then.
That was terrible.
It's not already.
Now you're getting into fat guy fall down. It's dumb and it's hackney and all that. But Tommy
John Belushi evolved. Chris Farley, who revered John Belushi, did not.
Into what? I love this argument. What did John Belushi evolve into? He was John Belushi.
Well, he did the fat guy routine with Bluto. He became a blues man / blues brother. He
Wait,
did
that was-
Neighbors, which was against type, Continental Divide.
Well, I mean,
He was playing John Belushi in Continental Divide. Come on.
Yeah.
Some will say a slight step backwards and or sideways backwards
Yeah.
with 1941.
Yeah.
But not
And
enough
John
of
Candy
it.
was brilliant in Wagons East.
Fine. I will step aside. I will see this argument as a stalemate / lose on my part. I'm sorry. I saw. As I think
Okay, I'm just going to say this.
Here's
I'm-
how I
I'm
know.
just-
Go ahead.
All right.
Jim,
I'm
you're
just
there.
going to say this. Farley died very young. He was on the verge of a whole bunch of really interesting projects when he died. He was going to be the voice of Shrek at the time. He was going to do a biopic about Fatty Arbuckle, his first dramatic role. He was going to be they were already working on Grown Ups, and he was going to be in that. He had a whole bunch of really interesting projects, and he was about to break out big when he passed away. So it is not fair to say
he had the role of Venkman. Venkman was
so it's not fair for you to say he didn't stretch when he was about to stretch big time and then died. So that is a completely disingenuous argument to make.
Well, and then I could say the same thing about Belushi, and the part of Venkman was written for him in Ghostbusters. And I will see the fact that, and I love the fact you brought up the Fatty Arbuckle. I'm glad you brought this stuff up. Chris Farley did not have a chance, much the same as his hero John Belushi did not have a chance.
I agree, and I compare those two. Those two.
Just don't shit on him and say all he did was Fatty fall down.
But that's all we saw from him. And could we have seen more of it? I'm not going to. I would say yes, we could have.
Schlitzke, hello.
That guy in a little suit.
Okay, so Schlitzke, number one.
Schlitzke, there's another one. Great one.
American Tourist on a Japanese game show.
There
Bennett Brower. He did so many different things, and they were hilarious. And he didn't do the fatty fall down thing and everything. So,
well, the quotes guy was starting to get old too. But everyone on SNL starts to beat a dead horse. He's not alone.
Why are we shitting on fatty fall down? That's funny.
The first 40 times, maybe.
That's like a fart joke. It's always funny.
Folks, apparently there might be too much of the red stag in me right now. I don't know, but I loved Chris Farley when Farley was on. Fun to watch, but I still stand by. The Matt Foley and the Chippendales. It got no better than that, and I'm okay living with just that.
All right, now it's time to move on to shitting on Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. Go, Eric.
I liked it once. But I also like Jim Carrey in Truman Show. I loved him in the Andy Kaufman movie, Man on the Moon.
Wait, Jim Carrey's brilliant, and that's enough said there. But wait, you saw Dumb and Dumber once? Oh my!
Is that? Again, I don't dislike it, but I was like, okay, this works. I didn't need to see it multiple times. I didn't dislike it when I watched it when I would catch it again, but I didn't watch that. That's not my favorite. It's far from my favorite Farrelly Brothers movie. I can watch Kingpin all the live long day.
I think that's a really good choice. By the way, just be prepared around that campfire out in the desert in a couple of short weeks. Me and Mark are going to murder you on this point. It's going to be like 15 minutes of agony. We are not going to let up.
And there will be a lot more of the red stag filling this to help it all go down.
Oh yeah, every good story.
I'll be hanging with my boys where I drank 7/8 of a bottle of Jameson at the Rose Bowl with those two. I let them have a sip here and there, and I was fine. I won't have the Penn State adrenaline this time around, but we'll see what happens in the desert.
Jim, let me just tell you, most of that story is true.
What he can remember is true.
Well, the last part where he said, I was fine. It was like Joe Biden whispering there. I'm fine. I'm sober.
Look, I have a witness. We unfortunately can no longer call her because I'm no longer allowed to contact her. Mm-hmm. But we digress in a wrong direction. So,
edit that out.
But Jim was telling me he's got a lot of Hollywood to talk about. So before I get to my review of a movie, I actually went to a movie theater recently and saw something with people who don't shit on us. But Jim, you've got some Hollywood. You're ready to unload. Let's hear it.
Let's have it.
All right, I want to talk about Emilia Perez, and yes, that was a terrible accent, and that was on purpose. So I don't know how well you guys have been following this debacle, but okay. So
wait, is this the transgender movie that got 5,000 award? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Now I know where you're going. Okay.
Okay, so this is one of those things. I know people are like, well, nobody watches the Oscars. Who cares? I think these things are a bellwether for our culture and where it's going, and I think this particular one is noteworthy. So this is a Netflix musical about a transgender drug lord, and it has.
Is this a story or is this fiction?
Very fiction.
Very fiction.
Partly inspired. I mean, the drug lord stuff is inspired by drug lords, but it has 13 Oscar nominations, more Oscar nominations than The Godfather, more than Return of the King, more than I could list every movie you love, and it'll have more Oscar nominations. And
so 13 is a record.
It's not a record. There have been, I think the first Lord of the Rings had the same number. I don't think any of them have more than 13, but it's like the top 5 most nominated movies of all time. And
man,
nobody saw this movie. Nobody gave a shit about this movie. And now that it's been all these nominations, people are like trying to catch up and watch it and figure out what the hell was the big deal about it. So
hence it getting nominations, so people will actually take a look at it because there were no numbers before the nominations. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
Hollywood.
So, yeah, exactly. So one thing I think that a lot of people are missing about this is not just the political issue. Obviously, that was a big part of it, but so Harvey Weinstein's PR person actually got a job at Netflix after Harvey Weinstein went off to prison. So now he's doing the same thing he was doing in the 90s, which is basically buying Oscars for his clients' movies. And I think that is an interesting point about how, metaphorically speaking, how easy of a lay the Academy is.
Mm-hmm.
Because we thought they had actual integrity to some degree, and they were like actually voting for what they considered the best movies, or at least you had to really earn their vote. Now,
since when?
All you have to do is send them a free screener and some merch, and and you get the nomination. They're so easily bought. They should be in politics.
So the shine is off the trophy.
Yes. Exactly. So, I mean, that's one thing that I think people aren't talking about is that Harvey, the Harvey Weinstein grift is still going on. It's just happening for woke Netflix now. But obviously there's more to it than that. What really happened was beyond that was the Academy just wanted to stick it to Trump somehow. They were pissed about the election, and they said, oh, we have to stick it to Trump. So what do we do? What do we do? Oh, here's this transgender movies nobody's heard of. We'll just give it all the nominations and make it and cast a huge spotlight on it. And they didn't really think it through too much because it's a terrible movie. It's basically offended just about everyone. It's a movie set in Mexico made by a Frenchman who doesn't speak Spanish with a bunch of actors who don't speak Spanish. So the Spanish is terrible. And the depiction of Mexico is completely wrong, so Mexicans are pissed off. Its depiction of
Hollywood.
Its depiction of transgenderism is actually insulting to transgender people because it's basically saying this is like the worst possible human being on earth, and all he has to do is transition, and suddenly everybody needs to love him, and that's actually what the movie's about. And that's the other thing is that it's made by this effeminate Frenchman, and it's not really about transgenderism at all. The message of the movie is basically this is that you can be a drug lord and murder thousands of people, and all you have to do is transition, and you're redeemed. Like it's literally says that in the movie is that because he transitioned, it changed his soul, and he's a different person now, and therefore we can't blame him. Yeah. So
we've found more blatant symbolism than Scorsese having the rat scurry across the balcony in The Departed.
Yeah, okay. It's basically saying that if you were if you happen to if somebody you love was murdered by a drug lord, that's just because that drug lord was a man, and it was toxic masculinity that killed your family. So all they had to do was change into a woman, and you should forgive them. So it's and then on top of that,
I thought women weren't frail. I thought women weren't victims. Help me?
I can't untangle that one.
These
I have a question.
Things, I'm confused.
I have a question. Was a woman?
Bam! Marty for the win.
That's offensive, Marty.
I know.
I'm now ignoring
gentlemen,
you.
we just got the beginning of our next show.
Bigot. And then on top of that, this is completely blown up in their face because the lead actor, who, by the way, we'll just specify that once again, an actor has been nominated for Best Actress, which means that some other Hollywood actress got scrubbed off the nominations for that. But that's a whole nother issue. Anyway, this actor who's nominated for Best Actress, a whole bunch of old tweets came out, and he's basically been most politically incorrect person in the world. And he's all these tweets insulting Islam, insulting Selena Gomez, who was crying about illegals. I mean, you can look this up, but it's stuff that would have gotten kicked off Twitter practically. Really, really offensive stuff, let's say.
Not to mention off-brand for what they're trying to press.
It's a little bit, yeah. So now Netflix has
Marty. When have you ever met someone in Hollywood who didn't give two shits about being a hypocrite?
Yeah, exactly. So now Netflix has had to pull the actress off of their Oscar campaign completely. After all this promotion, they've yanked this person off of the Oscar campaign, and all this bad press, and they're just trying to make it go away. So they just scrambled to get a social justice nomination, and it's just completely blown up in their face, and it's freaking hilarious to me. So,
well, you know what I will say there, the DJ
well.
in me is just going to cue up some Boy George and the Crying Game. You're welcome.
Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel.
Who was because I remember back when that was 93, 94, before a lot of people had seen that movie, The Crying Game, and who's the guy nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor, and people
Jay Davidson?
Actor, he's a man, but he's playing a woman. And spoiler alert.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. He has a ding dong.
Believe the word. I think the technical term, the medical term is schlong, Marty. Schlong.
You don't get all fancy with me now.
Fun fact about Jay Davidson, the actor from The Crying Game, he did one other movie after that. He was the bad guy in, what is it called? Stargate. He was the bad guy in Stargate, and he hated that experience so much he quit acting forever, and never did it again. So.
Yeah,
I guess Hollywood was not for him, as it turns out, but
well,
kind of hard to blame him at this point.
With or without the hidden schlong?
Pretty sure it was hidden. I'm gonna have to go rewatch it, but yeah, pretty sure
he played a male in Stargate.
He did.
Effeminate, but male.
Yes, yeah, he played a very effeminate, and he was supposed to be like a boy that would have been possessed by an evil alien, so that kind of explains some of the oddness about him. But yeah, so this played this one otherworldly character, but I guess the experience of that was so bad with all the
that
prosthetics and everything he had to wear.
That character's name was Fancy Pants.
Raw Fancy Pants. I like it.
I'm going to attempt to finish this show on an up note.
Oh, fuck that.
But Hollywood actors and directors and producers who actually like us. I was fortunate yesterday to see Flight Risk. And I will in no way, shape, or form say it was a masterpiece along the lines of Apocalypto or Braveheart.
Tommy Boy.
Or Tommy Boy for some people, or Beverly Hills Ninja for others. Or Wagons East for even others. But Mel Gibson directed Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Dockery and Topher Grace in Flight Risk. And not a flawless movie, but a damn entertaining movie. And what more? Isn't that what we're supposed to be
Isn't that the
getting
point?
from Hollywood? It's something
Movies can be entertaining,
Yeah.
like not just tell you to vote for, but they can actually just be fun. What?
Yeah, that's what I need.
Crazy
Do I know
talk.
Mel Gibson's politics? Obviously. Same thing with Mark Wahlberg. I mean, actually, I don't know Mark Wahlberg's politics. I know he's a very devout Catholic. But politically, I got ideas, but I don't know for sure. And Michelle Dockery, who also co-starred, and Topher Grace, I don't know their politics. I don't give a shit because they're up there. They're entertaining me on the screen. And I love the fact that Mark Wahlberg did not get a bald skull cap. He shaved down. He did the bald thing, the whole shebang bang. And no, just highly recommended. Do not pay attention to the 5.2 or 5.3, the sub 6 stars that IMDb's gotten it with their fake reviews just because it's Mel Gibson.
God. That's almost as good as the tomato meter.
Yes. But
the audience
check it out while it's in
Not getting
theaters.
me started.
And even if you don't see it in a theater, I highly recommend seeing it. It's a good it's 90 minutes. You're in, you're out, and it's very entertaining.
All right, a toast to Papist Hollywood.
Hey, only half papist. Although Michelle Dockery, well, she's English, so she's I doubt she's Catholic. She could be. I don't know. Is Dockery an Irish name? I don't know for sure. But
Church of England, cake or death.
Unlike Marty, I don't want to get I didn't bring my bottle next to me to do a refill, so I will just guess that she's likely not Catholic, but or papist, as Marty likes to call us. So,
I learned the word like 25 years ago, so I like to use it.
I still will put this up there for you, Marty.
Monkey learned a word.
Nice.
But definitely check that one out. And
Ooh.
all right, well, there you have it, folks. The shortest month threefer. Marty and Jim, always a pleasure. As it's the shortest month, it may not be the shortest recording, but we always
our
try.
30 minutes came in just over an hour.
We're just out there trying. We're three guys. As you guys, this week's picture, our wallpaper this week are the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It's the BEASTIE, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, from the co-greatest rap album of all time, Paul's Boutique.
Oh, well, I learned it in the Bible, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, we all learned it there first, but the song from three Jewish boys coming from the Old Testament, and yes, we papists call it the Old Testament, Marty, not the Torah.
Shame.
All over the place, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe.
Look at
Jim,
that.
Marty, I raise an empty glass to you.
Here, here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Marty, say bye-bye.
All over the place, where the fun sanity never ends.